Welcome back to the Love in Kuwait show. I'm your host Elgohary, and as always, we're here to dive into the heart and soul of Kuwait, bringing you stories that matter, from the quirky to the profound. Whether you're sipping coffee in Al Almiya or enjoying the evening breeze in Al Jahra, thanks for tuning in. Remember, you can catch all our episodes on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Anagami, so you never miss out on the buzz around our vibrant community. Alright, let's kick things off with something that's got a lot of people talking recently. So there is this American guy who visited Kuwait, and naturally, he had a few things to say about his experience. He shared his thoughts in a video that's been making the rounds online. And let me tell you, his observations have sparked quite the reaction. First off, he talked about how safe he felt while he was here. That is always nice to hear, right? He mentioned how the streets felt secure and he wasn't worried at all while exploring the city, even as a first-time visitor. And now I know Kuwait is known for its safety and it's something we often take for granted, but hearing it from an outsider's perspective really makes you appreciate it. But here where it goes interesting. He also pointed out that he saw a lot of expats while he was here, and surprisingly he said he rarely came across locals. Now, if you've lived in Kuwait for any amount of time, you know the population here is a mix of people from all over the world. So his surprise at seeing so many expats probably isn't shocking to most of us. But it's definitely an interesting point for someone visiting for the first time. Then there was the whole not enough rest places comment. He mentioned that Kuwait seemed more like a business and oil-driven country rather than a place for relaxation and tourism. And okay, he's got a point. Kuwait is not marketed as a tourist hotspot like, say, Dubai or Qatar, but it definitely has its charm if you know where to look. Of course, his comments stirred up some debate online. Some guy called Hassan, he told him, "You should come in winter. It's my birthday and it's the best season." So some people actually agreed with him, and especially on the point about expats, while others were quick to defend Kuwait, saying that the country has plenty to offer beyond business and oil. And honestly, it's a mixed bag, and it really depends on how much time you spend exploring beyond the surface. So yeah, it's one of those discussions that makes you reflect a little on what we take for granted and what visitors pick up on right away. Let us know what you think about his take on Kuwait. Feel free to DM us on Instagram, lovin_Kuwait. Alright, moving on to our next story. And this one is really close to the heart for a lot of people, especially here in Kuwait. So, Kuwait-based Lebanese actress Laila Abdullah recently shared an emotional message on Instagram where she opened up about the devastating situation in Lebanon. She talked about how heartbroken and sad she feels over the ongoing violence and loss of life, and she sent her prayers and hopes for the safety and strength of the Lebanese people. It was one of those messages that really hit home, especially for those of us who have family, friends, or just a deep connection with Lebanon. Now, as we were getting updates on this, the situation in Lebanon continues to worsen. The latest reports say the death toll has risen to over 570, with more than 1,800 people injured. In South Lebanon, many people have already started to leave their homes and move to other parts of the country to seek shelter. It's a heartbreaking reality, but countries like Syria and Iraq have stepped up and opened their borders to offer refuge for displaced Lebanese citizens. What really stands out here is how Kuwait has also been vocal about this situation. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs has called an immediate end to the violence, urging the international community to act and protect innocent civilians caught in the crossfire. This isn't just a statement, It's just a reflection of the deep solidarity between Kuwait and Lebanon. As Kuwaiti community, our hearts truly go out to the people of Lebanon. This isn't just another news story for us. Lebanon is a place many of us have visited, loved, or have personal connections with. The culture ties run deep, and seeing the pain and destruction unfold like this is incredibly painful. But if there's one thing we know about the Lebanese people, it's that they are resilient. They've been through so much already, and our thoughts, prayers, and support are with them during this extremely tough time. And moving on to our last story, the Avenues Mall, one of the most famous spots here in Kuwait, was absolutely glowing with green lights, all in celebration of Saudi National Day. Everywhere you looked, there were green colors shining through, and the atmosphere was just electric. People were out enjoying the festivities, the music was lively, and you could really feel the sense of unity and joy between Kuwait and Saudi Arabia. It was one of those moments where the vibes were just immaculate. It's so heartwarming to see how we come together as a region to celebrate each other's milestones. And it really serves as a reminder of the bonds that we all have together. While we're celebrating, let us also keep in mind the importance of peace and safety for everyone in the region, especially during these times. And of course, as we enjoy these moments, our hearts remain with our brothers and sisters in Palestine and Lebanon. We wish we could do more, but we always keep them in our prayers, hoping for peace and safety in their lives. The situation is truly heartbreaking. And that wraps up this episode of Love in Kuwait. Thanks for tuning in to hear all the latest buzz. Don't forget, you can catch all of our episodes on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and of course, Anagami. Wherever you prefer to listen, we're there. Stay tuned, stay curious, and as always, keep loving Kuwait. Thank you for tuning into the Love in Kuwait podcast as part of the Augustus Media Podcast Network. Please hit that subscribe button wherever you get your podcast from.